So an explosive start to the new series tonight. We can't wait. But right now, and in high definition on BBC One HD, it's all about football with Final Score.
Relegation. He was one of the heroes of the afternoon. Applause from the away supporters. The latest score is Wimbledon go through the defender. John Terry's tears we all remember. It was 2 crucial weeks.
Hello and welcome to Final Score. The speculation and conjecture is over. The window is shut. No more gossiping and guessing. The deals have been done. Some of the signings are in action right now. Just the 4 3-o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League, but it's not all about quality. Well, we hope it is, but definitely not about quantity today. I have an Arsene Wenger approach to spending, so I've kept the wallet shut. I'm sticking with these two until at least January. Mark Bright and Robbie Savage have enjoyed a great afternoon so far. Not all of it on the pitch, it has to be said, but we'll bring you right up to speed with today's Premier League action. These are our half-time headlines for you. Wigan 1, Stoke 1. The Latics took the lead through a Sean Maloney penalty, but the Potters hit back with a spot kick of their own, which was converted by Jonathan Walters. And it's the same scoreline at the Hawthorns as well. The Baggies have hit the woodwork, but it's not the free-scoring, fabulous football we've seen from Everton so far this season. Well, the lunchtime kickoff was at Upton Park, and it was between West Ham, of course, and Fulham, and Jonathan Pearce has the details for you.
West Ham 3, Fulham 0. Andy Carroll has arrived at West Ham with a bang. His header helped set up Kevin Nolan to score the Premier League's fastest goal after 53 seconds. Fulham simply couldn't handle him in a rampant first half. With anxious eyes on the new loan signing, Fulham forgot to track Winston Reid, who headed the second after 28 minutes. And Carroll, who should also have been awarded a penalty, forced a poor header out by Hangeland 4 minutes before the break for Matt Tyler to drive in the third. Fulham brought on Dimitar Berbatov for their second half improvement. He showed what he could do with Hugo Rodallega, setting up the Colombian with their best chance. He hit the post. By then, though, West Ham were at walking pace. And Carroll had limped off with a hamstring strain. A precaution, say West Ham. I've got a feeling they'll be doing an awful lot of talking about Andy Carroll this season. West Ham 3, Fulham 0.
Yeah, he slotted in, looked very, very comfortable, didn't he, in his new kit?
Yes.
And Nolan was eulogising about him at the end as well. Could be a really important addition to them staying up this season and cementing their place back in the Premier League.
Absolutely. I think the majority of people thought that would be a good move for him, the way they play. I mean, I thought that it was nothing sort of sensational for the first 45 minutes. Played a part in the first goal, led the line well, was a constant threat to the Fulham's defence. And virtually, when you start off the game with a goal in the first minute, Gab, you know, the home crowd are right behind the team, you know, really giving him a really warm welcome down there. And, you know, it's a real shame that he had to go off with an hamstring injury.
He played with a smile on his face.
Like
you could see in the warm-up, he was enjoying himself, and that's the way he played.
Because I asked you, didn't I, you know, could it affect his confidence? What's happened to him at Liverpool? Because he's gone there for a lot of money and not really lived up to it, has he?
But it wasn't his fault, you know, the 35 million price tag. If a club's willing to pay that for you, it's not the player's fault. Yes, there's added pressure, and people think for 35 million quid, this player's got to be fantastic straight away. He wasn't. He's gone there. He's played with a smile. He's under no pressure at all at West Ham. Yes, I mean, you could just see today, he's played with a smile on his face.
Fulham played with a smile on their face in their first game, certainly scoring 5 goals against Norwich. What did we see today? Do we see a team who've lost a few players in this window and looking a little bit weak?
They were poor, and the interesting thing was seeing Berbatov come on the bench in the first half, 3-0 down. You know, he's probably thinking, what have I done here? Because he's going to have to run around this Fulham team. He's going to... I think with Berbatov, at home, he can be fantastic. For away, I think Fergie that said he was great in the home games for United. So when he goes away from home, when they're 3-0 down, bringing Berbatov on, I'm not sure he's going to run around for you.
Well, just his goals to game record since he came to England is sensational. It's, you know, 50%. But, you know, he's come on at 3-0 down. You can't really say, you know, anything to do with Berbatov. I think they've just lost a lot of creativity, and Dembele, Danny Murphy, Bobby Zamora's gone, Andy Johnson's gone, and, you know, after that great initial start, it was come down to earth for them today.
Indeed. OK, let's head to our reporters around the grounds then for the 3 o'clock kickoffs. We'll go to the Liberty Stadium first. Mark Webber can tell you what's going on there.
Teams just coming out for the second half. Swansea City 1, Sunderland 2 is how it was at half-time, and a frustrating half where tempers were frayed and Swansea's Neil Taylor was stretchered off. It actually turned into a football match later in the half, thanks to 2 great goals from Stephen Fletcher on his Sunderland debut, and also a response from Wayne Routledge in between those 2 goals, which was also well taken in the by the near post. The latest on Taylor is that he has gone to hospital with a suspected fractured ankle after he came down on himself in a tackle with Craig Gardner. Swansea City 1, Sunderland 2.
Yeah, it started off a little bit of an inauspicious kind of first 10-15 minutes of that half, and then the injury obviously stopped the momentum, didn't it?
Gardner's, no, it was not a bad tackle at all. It was just a mix-up of legs. You know, it looks a horrible injury from Taylor. Yeah. It was, but no blame attached at all to Gardner.
They just kicked off practically at the DW, but already a goal. Richard Askham.
Yes, Wigan back in front, Gabby. Franco Di Santo with his second goal of the season. After excellent work from new signing Aruna Kone, Di Santo sent him clear down the right-hand side. Some poor defending from Stoke led to the striker. Clean through on goal. The Stoke defence then rather caught him up. He checked back, looked for Di Santo, who was free, and right-footed, he curled the ball into the bottom left-hand corner of the net. Azimir Begovic, no chance. Before that, Gabby, the match was a story of a couple of penalties. The first 2, Wigan scored by Sean Maloney from a handball from Robert Huth. The second scored by Jonathan Walters for Stoke, another handball after a bit of ball juggling from Peter Crouch. But it has been Wigan who've been playing the better football. Charlie Adam has made a difference for Stoke City since he came on late on in the first half. But now Wigan have the lead again. They lead by 2-1.
Di Santo 5 goals in his last 8 games. We'll talk about this one in just a moment, but there are 2 goals already at the KC Stadium. Naz Premji.
Yes, Gabby, Hull City 3, Bolton Wanderers 1. I wonder what Steve Bruce does in his half-time team talks. Maybe Robbie can tell us, because Hull have started this second half like a house on fire. It was a second goal for Hull from Abdoulaye Faye. Stephen Quinn with a corner, Faye with a simple header, and then Jay Simpson darted down the right-hand side, crossed for Stephen Quinn, and the new boy on his debut has made it Hull City 3, Bolton Wanderers 1.
Just confirm for us, Robbie, what he does in his half-time talk.
Well, he just shouted at me and said, "You can do better, son." No, but depending on how the game was going, 1-1 half-time, you know, as it was, he'd have gone in and said, "Keep going, boys, you know, you're doing okay." Aluko, I was talking to him in midweek when they played Blackburn, and he was raving about Aluko, who actually was there at a Birmingham when I was a kid. When he was a kid, I didn't know that, but Steve said he left, went to Rangers.
You just didn't bother with the kids, did you?
No, I did, but I just couldn't remember him. He was raving about Luku. He's had an influence in the game, but he just said keep going, and obviously they got the 2 goals.
He's under big pressure there, isn't he? Well, not big pressure, but he's under pressure.
He's got a good squad, Gabs.
He's got to take them off.
He paid a lot of money for a centre-forward, I think £2.7 million, I think, Proswich, I think he was, which I'm not sure about him, but, you know, Brucey's got a good record in the transfer market, usually.
Di Santo?
Yes. Well, started the season how we finished it off. I mean, they finished the season really strong, didn't they, Wigan? And they beat something like Arsenal and Manchester United, Liverpool. And, I saw them midweek against against Nottingham Forest. And they played virtually a different side and played very good football. And 2 of the strikers combining really well. Aruna Kone, feeding Di Santo, and a good finish.
It was poor defending from Wilson. Stoke. You know, Kone's gone down the wing. Wilson should have cleared the ball, but poor defending.
Guess where we're going next?
Derby.
Pride Park. Let's go there, Peter Slater.
Well, I don't know what Gianfranco Zola said to his team at half-time. It hasn't done any good at all, because after 6 minutes of the second half, Derby County now lead Watford by 4-0. The 4th goal, I'll tell you about that one first. Jamie Ward took a free kick. It struck the post. It bounced across the goal, hit the other post, and then 17-year-old Will Hughes, a player they think a lot of here, managed to poke the ball home. In the first half, 3 goals for Derby when they were completely on top. The first one came after 16 minutes to Richard Keogh, a header from across from the left. The second one, Jeff Hendrick, a header from across from the right. Really training ground goals. I don't know what Watford were playing at. The third goal, special one really. Connor Salmon, the former Wigan Athletic player, breaking through from halfway and just clipping the ball over Manuel Almunia. He certainly deserved that. But Derby, who haven't won at home for 5 months, I think they might do it this afternoon. They're leading Watford by 4 goals to 0.
Edging the bets.
Yeah, and if you were looking at stats ahead of that one, you'd have put the bet on for Watford, wouldn't you? They haven't been beaten away in 8 games. They haven't won at home for 5 months. But Hughes, you were saying, is a real
Hughes,
prospect.
you know, I speak to the people at Derby a lot, and they're raving about this kid. He's a 17-year-old midfield player. He likes to get in the ball. He's energetic. He's enthusiastic. Likes to tackle. This boy can go far.
Was he coming through when you were there? Can you remember?
Yeah, he was coming through. He trained with us now and again. He was, you know, a real talent. But I'm sure 2 seasons ago we beat that Watford 5-0 when I was there. I'm not sure. I might be wrong. Check that stat.
We'll find out for you. How can you not remember if you beat them 5-0 2
I'm
seasons
sure
ago? I bet you can tell me every score on Strictly Come Dancing, but you can't remember if you beat them 5-0 2 seasons
Yeah, and they were usually better than yours.
You know, it's one of those situations where Sean Dyche did ever so well, got taken out of the job, sorry, new owners, in comes Zola. What, 5?
I think he's brought 5 Udinese players on loan, which is
Yeah.
a lot.
But it's not been going too bad, has it?
They were 2-1 down
now,
against Palace and scored 2 in the last 2 minutes.
So it's
and that
not
got them going.
over yet. But a good day
they
for
say.
Derby so far. OK, let's go to White Hart Lane. Not a great day so far. In fact, not a great impact so far for AVB, let's say, Jonathan Ledger. Booze at half-time, we heard as well.
Yeah, but that word with Dembele was to effect because he came on straight away in the second half, replacing Sandro, and was immediately prominent and involved. A lot of neat interplay, but nothing that was really going to hurt the Norwich defence. And quite frankly, Norwich had a better chance just a few moments ago. Free header for Grant Holt, just wide. It's looking a little bit more ominous, I'd say, for Spurs, because although Dembele's adding another bit of skill, we've got a good run at the moment for Gareth Bale, who lets fly now, and just over the bar and the post, just the intersection, as John Ruddy was diving away to his left. Essentially, you can sense that there's a foothold that Norwich have gained, and they're coming up with a lot more confidence. But as I speak, here comes Emmanuel Adebayor. AVB talking to him, so Spurs making changes, but still not scoring.
How's he going to accommodate him then?
So I'm looking forward to listening to Harry on Match of the Day tonight, because you'll have a better understanding of how Spurs are playing today. But what I've got to say, do you really need 2 sitting midfielders at home when you're playing against Norwich? That's why I think he's taking Sandro off. Dembele's more attacking. This formation of 2-3-1, people love it. But I think at home against Norwich, no disrespect to Norwich, you don't need 2 sit midfielders. Take the game to them, and that's why I think he's brought Dembele on.
Listen, we've got a goal at Selhurst Park, which I'm sure you want to hear about, Brighty. Tony Husband.
He won't be very happy to hear about it, though. It's Palace 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1. I suppose mixed emotions, perhaps, actually, for Brighty, isn't it? Mikel Antonio has claimed it was a corner from the far side, and at the back post, real in-swinger right across the face of goal. Antonio appeared to get the last touch. He's been credited with the equaliser for unbeaten Sheffield Wednesday, 1-1.
It's a win-win for you, isn't it?
Yes, and lose-lose,
It's the Brighty derby.
Palace need the points desperately because at the bottom of the league. Wednesday have had a fantastic start and are on this 19 games unbeaten run.
Dave Jones not beaten yet since he turned up there. OK, let's go to Oakwell. Adam Pope with a goal.
And deservedly so for Barnsley, who lead Bristol City by a goal to 0. Jacob Mellis, former Chelsea man, with a thunderous header after a move he started. The ball worked to the right. Martin Craney with the delivery. Mellis with a great finish off the bar and in. Craig Davis for Barnsley could have had a first-half hat-trick. He struck a post, and only Tom Heaton in the Bristol City goal is preventing them from being more goals. Barnsley 1, Bristol City 0.
Let's go to Celtic Park. Hibs have equalised. It's been through the video. Roddy Forsyth, give us the details.
Indeed, Tim Clancy, the man who got it, and he must have been as astonished as we all were by the fashion in which the goal came about. Hibs had forced a corner kick. Celtic had more or less cleared it, got it downfield. It was returned with some interest, a hopeful punt up the field. Clancy was still around. The ball dropped between Lustig and Foster. Lustig, the man who got Celtic's earlier goal, you remember. He tried, the Norwegian, ineffectually to nudge the ball back to Foster. It fell into no man's land, and up popped Clancy to take the ball away from both of them, to everyone's astonishment, and poke it into the empty net. And that's why it's now Celtic 1, Hibs 1.
Bournemouth making a comeback at Bramall Lane. Lee Barnard on 48 minutes makes it Sheffield United 3, Bournemouth 2. Let's go to Huish Park. Mark Bishop.
A win-win situation for Yeovil, Gabby. It's as if the tannoy announcer announced free clotted cream and cider for the rest of the afternoon. Yeovil Town 1, Doncaster Rovers 0. Piece of magic out on the right by Kenu Marsh-Brown. Gem of a cross. What a lovely header from Hayter, powering it past the keeper. And Yeovil 1-0 to the good. Just seen Stetch make a terrific save from Hines. Yeovil now turning up the pressure. They're in the ascendancy. They're top of the league and they lead by 1-0.
Let's go to League 2 now to Bootham Crescent. James Mason, what have you got to report?
Yeah, York City 3, Oxford United 1. Gabby, York's third coming from Patrick McLaughlin, finishing a fine move from the home side. They look good for their first home win since rejoining the Football League this season, whereas Oxford's 100% start to the season looks in real danger now. It's York City 3, Oxford United 1.
Thank you very much. Let's go back to Oakwell. We'd been there for a goal a few moments ago, Adam Pope. Red card, I'm hearing.
Yes, and Barnsley, taking the lead through Jacob Mellis, has seen their experienced player Bobby Hassel sent off. A huge melee in the middle of the park. He looks like he's been given a straight red for going high over the top of the ball. And Barnsley, having taken the lead, are down to 10 men. Barnsley 1, Bristol City 0.
Well, they've lost their last 3 in all competitions, just 3 points so far this season. If they're going to hang on for that, they're going to have to do it with 10 men. Let's go to the Hawthorns. Ivan Gaskell, is it all livened up there?
No, not really. We're nearly an hour into it, and it's 0-0, and about as good as that sounds. Everton, and for that matter, West Brom, really, failing to hit the heights they've reached in the first couple of games. Everton with more chances, but West Brom with the better ones. Notably Shane Long with a header crashing against the bar in the first half. James Morrison just before the break. His volley well saved by Howard. Interesting moment here, though. West Brom have a free kick. I think it's going to be Dorrans who will take it, but it's kind of typical of the game that it wasn't that well taken, and it was easily headed away, I think, by Jagielka. And just an interesting footnote, really, literally, Fellaini couldn't start the start of the second half because I think he had to go off and change his boots because the tape around the boots was the wrong colour. Referee ordered him off the pitch. There was lots of arm waving and pulling at his not inconsiderable hair, but interesting one, new one on me, that one. He's back on now and is just annoying everybody. It's 0-0.
Let's go to White Hart Lane. Jonathan Ledger, just explain to us what's going on.
There is a penalty. Sorry, penalty. There's a free kick. I wish there was a penalty. We might get a goal then. There's a penalty. There's a free kick rather, and Simeon Jackson is refusing to go back to full 10 yards. In fact, at one stage, the Norwich defender seemed 10 inches was just about enough. But it's a free kick with Jermaine Defoe there, Kyle Walker as well. Defoe now runs up, shoots, and it's rebounded off the wall, and that's gone off for a corner. Extraordinary why Simeon Jackson should just stand there and not retreat 10 yards. Referee Mark Halsall walked away, expected the wall to follow him, but Jackson just stood there as if he was marking Kyle Walker. Anyway, corner, still 0-0.
But let's go back, take it back to the incident which led to it, which could have been a penalty.
Sebastian Bassong challenges Jermaine Defoe, just wins the ball on the edge of the 18-yard box first, and Bassong slides and catches him. Now, I think he's inside the area because Jermaine Defoe's foot's in the area, the ball's on the line, and I think it's a penalty, and I don't think Mark Halsey's got it right. I think it should be a penalty.
I think a penalty too. I think on the line is a penalty. I think he's standing on the line, Defoe. I think it's a penalty.
OK. Let's go. We've got a goal at Ellen Road. Let's go there. Damien Johnson, is it the equaliser?
It is from Ross McCormack. A ball played in by Adam Drury, a long ball. Givet misjudged the flight of it, although he did claim he'd been pushed in the back. The ball bounced kindly for McCormack, and he half-volleyed it past Robinson. 2-2.
Still debating whether or not that should have been a penalty at White Hart Lane.
It just seems like Adebayor's injected a little bit of... 4-4-2, obviously Bale wider, Lennon wider, Defoe, Adebayor, and, Dembele and Livermore in the middle.
His technique of making
Hold on a minute.
His technique of making himself very big. I thought Garth Crooks was back then. His technique of making himself very big.
Oh, that's nice.
Garth?
Trying to lose some weight.
Garth made himself big.
Adebayor making himself very big in front of the wall then. Obviously, it's his player who's taking the free kick. And he makes himself very big in front of the wall with his arms spread, so presumably that the Norwich wall can't see.
Yeah.
But actually, would he not?
You're hoping that somebody just lifts the leg or something like deflects and goes through the wall. But basically, if you're in the wall, keep your feet on the ground, keep your head down on your chin, and just if it hits, take it.
Martin O'Neill's furious on the side.
Shall we find out why?
McLean's down.
Let's find out. Mark Webber, why is he furious?
Yeah, McLean was brought down in a tackle by Michu. He's right to be furious because he was blind there for a few minutes before the referee did anything. This match, I'm afraid, being crystal ball time, I can see a red card. It is getting out of control. Tempers are being frayed. Tackles are going in. I've seen rugby tackles in this game, not football tackles. It really is getting out of control, and the referee has got to, and the referee and the assistant referees have got to do something to calm this down. And Martin O'Neill is walking up to pick a bottle up now, but he's calmed down a bit. But yes, absolutely, earlier on, because there was no attention given to his player, he was absolutely spitting chips. And I really can't see this getting any better in terms of the temper and the feeling amongst the audience, which you could probably hear behind me, the crowd behind me, and also Martin O'Neill. It's still 1-2, though.
It's Referee Roger East's first Premier League game, we understand.
Oh, well, give him the benefit of the doubt, but I think he's got a lot wrong there.
I don't think it's red card. Do you think it's red?
Yes, I do.
I don't think it is.
Do you know why? It's reckless.
It's one-footed, though.
It's reckless, Sav.
I'm not sure that's a red. I think it's
in
a
our
yellow.
days, no. Now it's called reckless. It's got the stud showing, goes through the player. It's endangering another player.
See how hard this for referees, though? I think it's not you think it is. So.
He's missed a lot today.
Well, what in the first half was there anything that you were?
I just said it picked up just before half time. I mean, the injury was nobody's fault.
No,
it was just an awkward landing. But then after that, it started to get really niggly. You could just see players just kicking each other after the ball, a few arms flying. And I just thought, half time's just come at the right time for it to calm down. But it's just continued after the whistle. And I think it was Chico the challenge. Yeah. I think it's a poor challenge. That's why Martin O'Neill's jumped off the bench.
I've got to say, Gabby, Brad Friedel today is the best player on the pitch. He's just made another fantastic save.
Chance.
Oh. OK, we've got a goal at Turf Moor. Andy Barwell, who's it gone to?
And it's now Burnley 1, Brighton 1. Burnley level, a beautiful header by Gordon Greer. Unfortunately, he was a Brighton defender and he was into his own net. That level things up after a first-half goal. A touch of class, really, from Craig McHale-Smith. A beautiful volley into the back of the net. But Burnley level, it's now Burnley 1, Brighton 1.
Let's check in with some Championship games then and go to the City Ground. Andrew James, how's it going there?
Still Forest 1, Charlton 0, Gabby, though Forest very nearly just a few moments ago through Adeline Guediora getting a second goal. But to be fair to Charlton, they've really set their stall out. Whatever Chris Powell has said at half-time has had some impact. They've stemmed the flow of Forest's passing football. And although they've only had the one effort, Jordan Cook's shot spilled by Lee Camp, who then regained it at the second attempt, they really have stemmed the flow of that Forest side in the first half when the passing game of Sean O'Driscoll's men was really taking control of the match. Forest, though, through that Lewis McGugan goal in the first half, still lead by 1-0.
Promoted even at Huddersfield, going quite well at Portman Road with that 1-goal lead. There is life after Jordan Rhodes, Tony Lockwood.
There is, Gabby. Adam Clayton with the low first-half strikers added to Jules' problems. Up until that breakthrough goal, it was really the home side looking more likely to score. Lee Martin setting up Daryl Murphy. And as I talk, Ipswich Town have forced home an equaliser from a set-piece. Looked as if it was Luke Chambers that got the final touch on that goal. Was just mentioning Murphy going close. Chambers with an opportunity, a header cleared off the line. The goal by Clayton had given Huddersfield that single goal advantage. But relief for Paul Jewell from a set-piece because Ipswich have levelled it up. It's 1-1.
Thank you very much, Tony. Let's go to the KC Stadium. It's been a good second half so far. Naz Premji for Hull. How have Bolton responded?
They've responded well, Gabby. It's still Hull City 3, Bolton Wanderers 1. Owen Coyler's rung the changes. He's brought on Benica Fobe, and literally moments ago he had a glorious opportunity to get one back for Bolton. In the meantime, Hull could have extended the advantage as well. Stephen Quinn with a shot from 20 yards, which was saved well by Adam Bogdan. And then a Robert Corran corner, header from Fye again. This one bounced on the bar, bounced down onto the line, along the line, but not across it. Still Hull City 3, Bolton Wanderers 1.
Birmingham City with a slim lead over Peterborough. Steve Lees at St Andrews.
Yes, it's still Birmingham 1, Peterborough 0, and given their recent run, it would take any kind of goal to give the home fans and Lee Clark a bit of comfort. And the goal came with a free kick on the left. It was a back header from Peter Lovenkrands, and the Peterborough keeper, Bobby Olejnik, was given the final touch after we all thought it was Lovenkrands who'd got the ball in. Peterborough have hit the bar through Michael Bostwick. And just get the feeling in this game that the anxiety is still with Birmingham. They need a second goal to put this one to bed. So far, Peterborough look dangerous on the break. Birmingham still leading 1-0.
I think we're at a goal in the Premier League. Let's go to the Hawthorns. Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, seconds really after Fellaini had blazed a fantastic chance over the bar that would have given Everton the lead. A wonderful counter-attacking move started by Olsen. Lovely ball out to the left-hand side. Slipped down the line. Odin Wingy on as a sub. Fabulous low cross. Finished impeccably by Shane Long from 6 yards. 1-0 West Brom.
Can you believe it?
Derby.
Let's go to Pride Park. Peter Slater with a goal.
Oh, it's raining goals here. Derby absolutely on top. They're 5-0 up now. This could finish any number. 67 minutes, the fifth one. Paul Coots with a low cross. Jamie Ward with a tap in. Watford simply don't know what to do. Derby County leading Watford by 5-0.
It was 4-1 when you played there 2 seasons ago.
Was it? But I spoke to him in the summer, and Derby's wage bill is probably the 3rd or 4th lowest in that league now. That's how well Nigel's done off the field. And people, Nigel Clough, people have got to give him a lot of credit. He hasn't got the budget to go and spend players. I think what he sells, he's got to bring in. So he sold, I think it was Shackle to Burnley, and he's brought in Salmon. And it's been a goal.
Yes, there has. And it's at White Hart Lane. If you talk for long enough, there always will be. Jonathan Ledyard.
It's Spurs 1, Norwich 0. And it's Moussa Dembele, man of the match last week for Fulham. And if he proves the match winner today, he'll take a second successive award. Lovely piece of skill, and frankly, about the only way that Spurs were going to break through this determined Norwich rearguard. 1 touch, 2 touch, through a whole forest of legs and players into the bottom left-hand corner. Despairing dive by John Ruddy. Not enough. And at last we have a goal. 68 minutes. Spurs lead 1-0. Welcome to the White Hart Lane, Moussa Dembele.
We'll talk about that in a moment, but let's go straight to Ellen Road. Damien Johnson, who's got this one?
Leeds United have completed a fight back here. It's a 5th goal of the season for Luciano Becchio. The ball was flighted into the area by Juve. Blackburn failed to clear their lines properly. Broke low, 6 yards out to Becchio. Diving header. Robinson could only palm it into the net. And Leeds, from 2-0 down, lead 3-2.
Let's get an update on the scoreline at Bramall Lane. Jackie Oatley.
It's Sheffield United 4, Bournemouth 2. It's an absolutely fantastic game. It's 4-3 last time I came here, so I'm feeling pretty lucky. Richard Cresswell with a header for Sheffield United just a moment ago from Flynn's cross from the left after a mistake by Francis. Cresswell's only been on the pitch for a matter of minutes. Tommy Elphick a little while ago headed Bournemouth in front from the first half. Ryan Flynn scoring twice, the second of beauty. And John Kofi, 19-year-old on loan from Manchester United, with a fabulous third, carrying the ball from his own half before letting fly from the edge of the box. Lee Barnard's headed Bournemouth back into it, but it's now Sheffield United 4, Bournemouth 2.
That's a way to ingratiate yourself with the new fans, isn't it?
We were saying before, do you really need 2 holding midfielders at home to Norwich? And he's made the change. Got to give AVB credit. He's made the change. But you've got to say, Johnny Alson's got to shut the ball down too quick at the edge of the box. He's made Dembele's mind of it. Did a Cruyff turn, and he smashed it in the bottom corner. Great bit of skill from Dembele.
But Mark House is in his way, and he sends him the wrong way as well. Fakes the shot, comes back on.
Let's go to the Liberty Stadium. Mark Webber, tell us all about the goal.
Michu is the man who's headed them into equilibrium. Swansea City 2, Sunderland 2. Graham with the ball in, and he's found Michu very, very well. Very, very well indeed. And it's a strong, strong header. He missed a header earlier on, it bounced over the bar, but this time he's not made any mistake. Swansea 2, Sunderland 2.
Michu 2-2, and you had that scoreline, but it's not finished yet.
Well, you've got to say, I was saying before, on the HD channel, how Michu is a bargain at £2 million when British players are going from ridiculous amounts of money.
Well, what is he, £500,000 a goal already?
Well, it's a fantastic header.
He can do everything. I mean, he wears number 9, but he plays off the strike. He's a midfield player essentially, and great technique. He's 15 or 16 goals in La Liga last year. But just when I saw him on the first day of the season, he could do everything. I mean, he worked hard. He's unselfish. A real team player. He scored 2 goals. He's been impressive again.
And I'll tell you what I've done yesterday. I put in my Football Focus Dream Team as well.
Where can we find out about
anything
that?
else about you?
Just saying. Go on, how many points is that?
Wow, would you have done that with 3 goals already? Imagine picking him.
On HD.
What a find. Tell us a little bit about... No, tell me the scoreline of that game. If you had to pick it one way or the other now, 2-2.
I would say home team.
Momentum for Swansea.
Well, I said I'm going to stick with the 2-2.
OK. Let's go up to the SPL. You can see there, actually, that Celtic have got another since the last time we spoke. Ronnie Forsyth.
Yes, indeed. Michael Lustig is the man who was claiming the goal for Celtic. It was a free kick by Twarzik, spilled by the goalkeeper Ben Williams. He frantically tried to recover, but there was Lustig to drive the ball over. I thought it probably took a deflection on the way in, and the man most likely to have contributed to that own goal would be James McPake. At any rate, that will be argued about later. We'll check the replays, but it's Celtic 2, Hibernian 1.
All the other games in the SPL, incidentally, are goalless. There's 3 other games. Let's go to Hoosh Park, though, and check in with Mark Bishop.
Going well, Gabby, if you're a Yeovil Town fan. Yeovil Town 1, Doncaster Rovers 0. Yeovil's highest league position, remember, the club's history. Gary Johnson's side taking a real grip of this one, thanks to James Hayter's close-range effort after great work from Keno Marsh-Brown out on the right. Jamie McComb has just cleared Marsh-Brown's shot off the line after a lovely interchange of passing between Reid and Upson. In contrast, Rovers, they've huffed and puffed throughout, much like the thousands of motorists, I have to say, trying to endure the delights of the A303 near Stonehenge today, as well as the Dorset Steam Fair. Why, oh why don't the town planners make that road dual carriageway all the way through? I digress. Yeovil Town 1, Doncaster Rovers 0.
Was Alan Partridge doing that? I don't know. Let's go to Celtic Park. Roddy Forsyth with another goal.
Well, I think that Celtic must wish Hibs could establish a bypass around Celtic Park, because they've just scored again. Hardly had I told you about the previous goal scored into his own net by James McPake. Then Hibs went upfield. Paul Kearney skipped in from the left, got away from the Celtic back line and drove low past Forster. So the surprising result is, or surprising scoreline, Celtic 2, Hibernian 2.
Yeah, I think there could be more goals there, Roddy. Let's see, though. Let's go to Bootham Crescent. It's been a busy afternoon for James Mason so far.
Yep, York City 3, Oxford United 1. York very much on top in what has been a very entertaining game, Gabby. 4 goals, a missed penalty and an own goal. Oxford desperate to preserve their great start to the season. They've just conceded at the worst possible time this afternoon, inside 15 seconds and just after half-time, and York lead 3-1.
Just a reminder that the lunchtime kick-off in the Premier League at Upton Park ended up being a 3-0 win to West Ham over Fulham. Let's get some reaction there. Jonathan Pearce asking the questions. Kevin Nolan first.
Well, West Ham have chased him long and hard. They've got Andy Carroll. You know what he can do, and he did it to set up the first goal within a minute.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously the pursuit we've had trying to get him has been long and hard, but well worth it, you know, and he showed today with the performance that he was well worth the wait. Good that we didn't get him earlier on, but I think with all the acquisitions we've had this summer, I think, you know, big hats off to, you know, to the chairman and the manager for working so hard to get the quality in we've got.
And how disappointed were you with the way your team defended?
Yeah, that was horrendous, you know. Started in the second minute, a long ball, and we knew that. Everybody knows that. The second ball, we couldn't pick the runner up, and then they scored the second goal, corner kick, you know, and the third goal was almost a replica, you know, a long ball, a knockdown and a goal. So that is, especially with us, you know, normally we've got good, tough defenders, but we couldn't cope with it.
Just the one blot, and that was the injury to Andy Carroll. With England World Cup qualifiers coming up, where does he sit on that?
Probably on our treatment bench, unfortunately. And, you know, we were responsible because Carlton was ready to come on. You know, and you know, just a couple of minutes longer, and Andy would have been off, and Carlton would have been on. Hopefully, we will get the balance right, because that was the problem. You know, we didn't have enough quality offensive midfield. Bayer always couldn't play because, you know, we did a test with him yesterday. Couldn't play. Of course, Bale wasn't there. Dempsey, who was there last year, wasn't there. So Patrick was injured. Berbatov couldn't play more than 20 or 25 minutes, and had to put him on. So there was a couple of problems, and hopefully, as I said, we get the balance right in the next couple of weeks.
It's all going off at the Liberty, and we're going to go there in a moment. But first, a goal at the DW. Richard Askham.
Yes, it's an equaliser for Stoke City, Gabby. Peter Crouch nodding in from a central position after a lovely dinked-in cross from Jonathan Walters. Stoke have been threatening. They've been creating chances. Charlie Adam increasingly influential. There have been chances at the other end, but by and large it's been Stoke who've been driving this game now, and they have the equaliser. It's 2 apiece.
Let's go to the Liberty Stadium. That's the scoreline, but whether it'll stay that way now, because Swansea are down to 10 men. Mark Webber has the story.
I predicted a red card, didn't I, Gabby? And it's turned out so. Chico Flores off, red card. His leg was really high, and the intent was there, I think, to connect with Louis Saha. The replays I've seen is he didn't actually connect, but Saha went down. It's irrelevant, I suppose. The intent was there. It was a high kick, and Flores is off. Swansea 10 men, still 2-2.
A straight red, leg very, very, very high. Obviously caught Saha as well, it would appear.
Yeah, that is ridiculous, because we've seen it in slow motion. I think he's caught Saha on his ear. Yes. Saha's on his ear. And the thing with Chico Flores, he could have pulled out, because Saha's gone past him. Yes. He's done that, and then he's caught him. Shocking red card.
He's pulled it.
I used to do yoga. Definite red card.
Red card straight away. I mean,
he could have before.
Roger East, first Premier League game.
Yes. Now, I thought Chico did a reckless challenge before and got away with it. Didn't even get a card. Didn't even get a card, and thought he could have gone off. Martin O'Neill's been off the bench twice, remonstrating, and on that occasion took his time. Had a little chat to the assistant by the looks of it, and it was a definite red card.
In the meantime, of course, Stoke there with that equaliser, Peter Crouch as well. So it's 2 apiece at the DW. Do you see Crouch's goal?
Yeah,
Good
fantastic
goal.
Header. He's got up at the back stick, headed back where it came from. Great head, and Crouch is. You know, he's fantastic. The Crouch is so underrated.
Him and Walters causing lots of problems. Walters flicked the ball over in centre of the 6-yard box. Crouch climbed above everybody, headed it back in. So, yeah, I think Stoke could go on to win that now.
Tottenham still there with a slim lead. Dembele's great goal at White Hart Lane, the difference between them and Norwich. Jonathan Ledyard, how's it going?
Yes, although Norwich will claim they had a penalty when Steve Morrison, who's come on as a substitute for Simeon Jackson, went down under a challenge from Asu Okotu. Don't know whether the boys saw it in the studio, didn't see much to me, and there were no real protests. There was a mock look of shock, in a sense, on Steve Morrison's face, but no one else seemed to appeal. It's now down to Norwich to step up, just as they were doing before they had the wind taken out of their sails by that lovely goal by Dembele. Goal of the day, I'd say, so far. Still 1-0 to Spurs.
Thank you. Let's go to Selhurst Park. Tony Husband, what's the story there?
Well, we've got a penalty awarded by Rob Lewis, the referee, here to Crystal Palace after what I have to say all of us here in the press box thought was an excellent challenge by Mark Beevers to dispossess Glenn Murray in the box. He seemed, from where we were, to clearly get the ball. Obviously, the Sheffield Wednesday player is absolutely furious. So now referee Lewis has gone down to talk to his assistant down on the touchline. Is he reconsidering the decision? It's unclear at the moment. There's a bit of handbags going on between Delaney and also Semedo. And in fact, the referee, I think, may have reversed his decision and said that in the meantime, the players are scuffling on the field in the penalty area. Kirkland and Delaney are arguing. And we're still not clear whether the penalty has been given or not, because we've got a referee dealing with the ball on the spot and about 15 players involved in handbags. So I'll come back to you and tell you whether we are going to have the penalty and indeed whether Palace are going to get a chance to go 2 up.
OK, let's go to the City Ground. A goal and a deftly taken goal. Andrew James.
Yeah, I'll be brief. It's 2-0 to Nottingham Forest, and Sam Hutchinson making his debut, the man they got from Chelsea, coming in from the right-back position, surging forward. Possible handball against him, to be fair, but he went on and put the ball into the Charlton net. Forest 2, Charlton 0.
He came back.
Hutchinson retired, came back.
Yes. Yeah, it was at Chelsea, wasn't he? And then, it took a year off or something like that. And I think there's a couple of other people in that. Was it Stephen, I can't remember, from Spurs? Went on. I think he retired and then he came back as well. It's quite rare, really, because if you take the insurance money wherever you have to come back and you have to hand the money back, apparently.
So it was injury that he was forced to retire through?
Yeah, I think it was a knee. I think it was at Chelsea at the time.
OK, well, he's back in scoring ways today. Forest 2-0 up against Charlton. Let's go to Pride Park, because Watford have got a goal back, Peter Slater. It's been through the video printer. Tell us about it.
I'm not even going to suggest this is a comeback or even the start of a comeback. Yes, but Watford have pulled one back. It's now just 5-1 to Derby. 73rd minute, Ikechi Anya, who as his name wouldn't suggest is actually Scottish, one of their substitutes, crossed, and Matej Vidra, the Czech striker who scored last week for Watford, scored the winner against Birmingham City. He was on hand to put the ball in the net. It's actually given Watford a bit of confidence, and their 400 fans behind the goal to my right are beginning to cheer, but they're not going to get anything out of this because we only have 10 minutes left and it's still Derby 5, Watford 1.
Let's go to Turf Moor. Andy Barwell, have you got a goal?
We have got a goal here at Turf Moor. It's Burnley 1, Brighton 2. Brighton back in the lead again. Craig McHale-Smith, his second goal of the game. His first, a volley, beautifully taken, spectacular. This second, even better, an overhead kick, something really, really special. Brighton lead 2-1.
Let's go to Portman Road. Tony Lockwood has a goal that we haven't caught up with you on.
Yes, Ipswich lead 2-1. It's Michael Chopra. He scored at Watford early in the season. He's repeated the feat. He was sent clear. Alex Smith is advanced, and Chopra provided an accomplished finish. And the under pressure Paul Jewell has seen his side turn it around. Ipswich 2, Huddersfield 1.
Let's go to Tony Husband just to clear up matters at Selhurst Park. No penalty.
No penalty. Rob Lewis, the referee, changed his mind and restarted play with an uncontested drop ball in the penalty area. I have to say, I've never seen anything quite like that. I suppose we should praise the referee for eventually realising he'd clearly made the wrong decision in awarding Palace a penalty. Eventually was persuaded otherwise, but there were some pretty ugly scenes in the build-up to it all, and Palace still lead 1-0, no penalty.
But that does defy that old adage that the referee never changes his mind.
Yeah, but you've got to give a lot of credit for the referee. You want to see more of that. If the referee thinks he's got it wrong, like he obviously has done, change the decision.
Palace aren't leading, are they? With the drawing 1-1, aren't they? You think he just said he was still leading, but it's a very brave decision because especially if you're at the home.
Piece.
Yeah, I mean, and Palace are bottom of the table. They need, so you can understand the anger there. But fair play to him. If he got it wrong, it's rare they do it, but it's a good decision.
It's refreshing.
Well, if he's got it wrong, yeah,
so
admit
the
it. Got it
would
wrong.
have told him that?
Drop ball.
Where would he have got the new information to change his mind?
Probably the assistant linesman, yeah.
Yeah, they can go across and have a talk.
OK, let's go to Portman Road. Goal news, Tony Lockwood.
Yes, it's really livened up this second half. James Vaughan, Norwich, Palace, Leicester, Derby, Everton included on his CV. Here he is playing for Huddersfield, 4 yards out, couldn't really miss. Cross from the left, and there was James Vaughan to sweep the ball home and tie it up at 2-2.
Let's go to the Liberty Stadium. Mark Webber, a referee changing his mind at Selhurst Park. A referee in Roger Rees having his first Premier League game, and not without incident. How's it going?
Well, it's been a little bit quiet because we've had a substitution for Swansea. We've had Ki Sung-young, the new signing, come on. Michu has gone off. And I think Swansea's still looking the better for a chance, even though they're one man down. Sunderland quite clearly want to take advantage of that. At the moment, though, we're still getting into this sort of what I call the bitty phase of play, where there's too many tackles coming in and too many nasty tackles coming in, which is slowing down the pace of the game and not making anybody happy, really. Least of all the referee, I would argue. 2-2.
Thank you very much, Mark. Oh, there's a goal at the Hawthorns. Ivan Gaskell.
Well, this is an exceptional start to the season by West Bromwich Albion. 2-0 they lead now, what with less than 10 to go. There's no coming back from this for Everton, who've been pretty much a pale imitation of the side we've seen in the last couple of weeks. This one, Brunt on from the subs bench. He's very good from the set pieces, is Brunt, and he swung in a corner, and then big centre-half Gareth Macaulay rose 2 yards out, turned it in with his head. No coming back from this, as I say, for Everton.
Goal, Gab!
Let's go to Jonathan Ledyard, White Hart Lane, important goal.
Important goal, Robert Snodgrass, first goal for Norwich City, and those in their canary yellow shirts away to my right are dancing. They're away to Brad Friedel's left. And frankly, Spurs should have been warned that this was coming, because Brad Friedel has kept them in the game with 3 outstanding reflex saves. Then Dembele goes and gives them Spurs the lead. But then, just a few moments ago, ball not properly cleared by the Spurs defence. Too much ball watching, frankly. Russell Martin to Grant Holt, finished in superb stooping style. A volley first time from Robert Snodgrass. 1-1, 5 minutes to go.
Same scoreline last week at White Hart Lane for West Brom. It was a bit later on they got their equaliser, but still.
I've just seen the save of the season at Wigan. Fantastic save from El Habsi. It's a free kick from Charlie Evans, deflect onto the wall. What a save!
He's going to the left, isn't he?
What a save!
Let's hear about it. Richard Askham.
It was an absolutely fantastic save, Gabby. It followed an earlier one as well, but as Robbie was describing it, Charlie Adam from maybe 30 yards, just shy of 30 yards, struck it well. It hit the wall, was deflecting into the bottom corner, and Al Habsi got a big hand to it, just low down to his right-hand side. An absolutely tremendous save. He'd made a really good one a little earlier, a couple of moments ago as well, from Cameron Jerome, who burst through on his left foot. That one was heading into the bottom corner. Again, Al Habsi kept it out, and Peter Crouch couldn't quite divert the ball towards the goal. It's Stoke who are attacking, though. Ali Al Habsi keeping Wigan in the game.
Let's go to Portman Road. 2 apiece, but a penalty. Tony Lockwood.
And James Vaughan has missed it. Scott Loach has saved it. Jack Hunt was fouled. The referee waved away his appeal, then talked to the assistant referee, changed his decision. Penalty, Huddersfield, upstep Vaughan, save Loach. It stays at 2-2.
Yeovil have doubled their lead. Mark Bishop, tell us about it.
They have indeed, Gabby, and I promise not to mention the A303. Yeovil Town 2, Doncaster Rovers 0. Heady days for the Glovers. Gary Johnson has steered Yeovil their best league position in the club's history. This time, Gozi Ugwu, 25 yards out. He saw the keeper, Gary Woods, way off his line. Why not? He had a go. Delightful lob, back of the net. This on the end of James Hayter's opener after great work out on the right from Kano Marsh-Brown. Yeovil Town 2, Doncaster Rovers 0.
Mark, we love the A303. We love you too. Let's go to Elland Road. Damien Johnson, a goal.
Blackburn Rovers have an equaliser. It's 3-3. Ruben Rashina with a lovely piece of improvisation. It was a left-wing corner from Olsen, headed down by Grant Hanley. And there was Rashina, 6 yards out, back to goal. An impudent little back heel past Kenny, and Blackburn have their equaliser, 3-3.
All these games have come to life in the second half, haven't they? The first half, let's be honest, was a little bit down.
One thing stood out today, Gabby. So far this season, goalkeeping error has been shocking. But today, we've seen some fantastic goalkeeper performances. Brad Friedel, Al Habsi, Howard's made some great saves, only conceded 2. It's been very, very good goalkeeping today.
OK, so somebody may have made a fantastic goalkeeping mistake, or it may just be a great goal at Selhurst Park. Tony Husband.
It's a goal, and it is finally 2-1 to Crystal Palace. And it was Wilfred Zaha crossing from the right side of the box. And there he was again, the man who scored Palace's first, getting the one that potentially could give them their first win of the season now. Glenn Murray lurking 6 yards out. Palace leading Sheffield Wednesday 2-1.
Huddleston, straight red.
I think we need to go to White Hart Lane. Jonathan Ledyard.
It is a straight red. Absolutely no hesitation whatsoever. Huddleston went through. I think it's Pilkington, isn't it? I can't. He's on the ground, and it's impossible to see his number at the moment. But Huddleston went through him, and there was absolutely no hesitation. Straight into his top pocket. Out came the red card, and that's it. He only came on as a second-half substitute a few moments ago, 8 minutes ago, to replace Jermaine Defoe, but he's gone off. There have been a few desultory protests by William Gallas, but absolutely no hesitation, and it's going from bad to worse for Spurs. Already lots of supporters beginning to leave. That goal just a few moments ago, the equaliser by Robert Snodgrass, triggered some to go, and now a lot more will be making their way, because this is huge frustration. Dembele marked his debut with a wonderful goal. Spurs look to be heading towards the first 3 points for AVB, but no, and it is indeed, it's Johnny Howson actually. It wasn't Pilkington, it's Johnny Howson who took the brunt of that challenge, but he's up, he's been attended to by the physios, so he is still in one piece, but Spurs are down to 10 men for the final minute.
And you think Mark Halsey made the wrong decision?
Never, ever, ever a red card. A million years.
When Mark Halsey sees it back, he'll realise that,
See, that should be rescinded. When he appeals at that, they should get together in their little room, what they do, whoever looks at these red cards, and then change it.
But for me, AVB, what he's done is taken Jermaine Defoe off and put Tom Huddleston on, so he's gone back to one up front and then pack the midfield again. You're winning, you're at home, you're playing Norwich.
Go for it.
Don't be so negative. Yeah, now Tom Huddleston come on. They both slid in for the ball. There's a coming together for the legs.
They could have gone either way.
Yes.
OK, let's get some team news. The tea time kick-off at the Etihad Stadium. Remember Man City QPR on the last day of last season. Can it live up to that? Well, let's see who's playing. Alistair Yeomans has the details.
Well, a lot of the paperwork has been done, but some of it hasn't in time. So Manchester City have their deadline day signings, if you like. Only one features, and that's on the bench. Scott Sinclair. The main news for Manchester City today, that Edin Dzeko is in for Mario Balotelli up front. Balotelli is on the bench. QPR make 6 changes from their last league game against Norwich, and they give a debut to former Real Madrid midfielder Esteban Granero. No international clearance yet for Julio Cesar, so Rob Green keeps his place in goal.
So 3 of the 4 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League, all square. It's 2 apiece at the Liberty. It's 1-1 at White Hart Lane. It's 2 apiece at the DW. Only West Brom with the win at the moment, with 2-0 lead, you'd think, with a few minutes to go, will take the 3 points.
That was Tim Howard came for the cross and, was just well beaten to it. I think by long just got in front of him. But
sport goalkeeping again, that one.
Oh, yeah, but hold on a minute. You said 2 minutes ago you said it was a great saves day.
It has been.
Yeah, it's been a balance, hasn't it?
But it's also some interesting decisions that will be looked at in depth tonight on Match of the Day, and that's one of them.
Yes, definitely. But the other
be interesting to see what Harry thinks about Spurs.
It's about Spurs. About you're at home, you're playing Norwich, and you have to drive it. we're not being disrespectful to Norwich, but you're expected to beat Norwich at home if, you know, you were looking to get to the top 4.
They didn't last year and they had it, did they?
Yeah.
Let's be fair.
Well, no, but you know, in this occasion, they're winning, Sav. There's been a goal, Gab.
OK. Should we go there?
Let's go.
OK, it's at the City Ground. Andrew James.
It's a goal for Charlton. They've pulled it back to 2-1, Gabby, and it's Ricardo Fuller on his debut. It's been a goal for players on debuts today, but Ricardo Fuller, who came on as a second-half sub for Charlton, the ball came into the box from a set play. It was headed by Fuller onto the post, ran back across the line. Lee Camp in the Forest goal was surprised, and it went back through his legs into the goal. Forest have looked comfortable so far, but Charlton, with still time to go, have got themselves back into it. Forest 2, Charlton 1.
Let's go to Turf Moor. The away side had the lead. Andy Barwell, what's happened?
Well, the home fans are leaving now. A third goal for Brighton. Gordon Greer, the captain for Brighton, redeemed himself. An own goal earlier in the game. This time he scored in the correct net. It was a headed goal from a corner kick. A bit of a bundle to get the ball over the line, but it was a third goal for Brighton. They lead Burnley now by 3-1.
So, and we haven't actually talked much about the game at the Hawthorns because there's been so much going on everywhere else. And Everton, obviously, with this fantastic start to the season, but you know, Steve Clarke and West Brom.
Well, West Brom, as it stands, destroyed Liverpool on the opening day, went to Spurs and got a point, and beaten Everton the way they have. You've got to say, Steve Clarke's taken to this manager like a duck to water. Fantastic. And they've played really well, Brighty.
Yeah. And last year, under obviously Roy, where they did ever so well, I said that they lost 10 games at home, and there's only three other teams who lost 10 games at home. The 3 went down, so they need to improve on that this season. That's a good start.
The big talking point from the day is going to be if Spurs draw at home. That's going to be the big talking about AVB. You know, I agree with Brighty. Why did he take the 4 off, bring Huddleston on to shore it up?
Brings on a striker to...
Listen, it's oh, hang on.
Oh, no.
Before we tell
Norwich.
you it's not over at the DW. Oh. It's not a goal at White Hart Lane, but it is all over. The final whistle is blown at the DW, and Richard Askham has the story there.
Yes, Gabby, it finished Wigan 2, Stoke 2. A fascinating clash of styles, as you might have expected, and when one side managed to impose their pattern of play on the other, it led to goals. First for Wigan, McCarthy and MacArthur. Their midfield access dominated the early stages. Sean Maloney, given space, had a shot that struck the arm of Robert Hoof. Maloney himself stepped up to score. On came Charlie Adam, and he gave Stoke the fluidity they'd been lacking, and they hit back. Also from the spot, handball minor Figueroa, Jonathan Walters put it away. But it changed again. Aruna Kone showed the pace which persuaded Roberto and Martinez to buy him for £4.5 million. He set up Franco Di Santo, who finished superbly. Another substitution gave the visitors renewed impetus, though. Cameron Jerome to add firepower, and that led to 2 other forwards, Jonathan Walters and Peter Crouch, combining for a superb equaliser. Crouch nodding in his 2nd of the season. But for a superb Ali Al-Habsi save from a deflected Charlie Adam free kick, Stoke would have snatched all 3 points, but a draw was just about fair.
Well, it's been a busy afternoon at Bramall Lane, hasn't it? Bournemouth have got another one back on 87 minutes. Is there enough time for the equaliser? Jackie Oatley.
There is. They have 2 minutes plus added time to try and get back on level terms. It's been a fantastic game, but we were starved of a goal for all of 27 minutes. It felt like forever. It was a fantastic strike from Mark Pugh, 25 yards out. He just placed the ball inside the right-hand post. It's Sheffield United 4, Bournemouth 3.
It's full time at Huish Park. Mark Bishop.
Certainly is. It's Yeovil Town 2, Doncaster Rovers 1. Yeovil's best start in the club's history, Gabby. Their highest position in the club's history. And what a performance this afternoon. They blew away Doncaster with superlative first 45 minutes, topped off by a James Hayter goal, burying the ball into the back of the net. Billy Painter restored parity right near the death after great work from Ian Hume, a on-loan signing from Preston North End. And that was sandwiched in between the best goal of the day. Terrific goal. Gozi Ugwu, the 21-year-old substitute, came onto the pitch, 25 yards out, delicious lob over the goalkeeper, Gary Woods. The ball agonisingly inside the post into the back of the net. The Yeovil players doing a lap of honour. Terrific start for Gary Johnson's side, and they've won by 2-1.
Well, it's all over at White Hart Lane, and they have to share the spoils. There's a
chance for Bradley Johnson. Not 1 volley, but 2 eventually blazed over the bar. But also Spurs hugely grateful to Brad Fiedel for 3 outstanding reflex saves. Spurs 1, Norwich 1.
You said there it's a very much a foreign manager's reaction to that scoreline. Not Premier League kind
reacting to going one up, throws Adebayor on to go sort of like 4-4-2, Lennon and Bale, Defoe and Adebayor get the goal, then all of a sudden removes Defoe, puts on Huddleston as if to say, well, block up the midfield now. You're at home. You know, you're driving to win the game. I think I said Mancini in his first season was quite negative in terms of his tactics. You know, in his second season was more expansive, scored loads more goals than everybody else, ended up winning the title. You'd think that AVB would probably learn a little bit.
And what a time to have Harry Redknapp on Match of the Day tonight. Looking forward to listening to Harry.
What a lovely advert from Robbie. Let's go to the Hawthorns. Ivan Gaskell, final whistle is blown there.
Yes, Everton's run of 11 Premier League games without defeat is at an end, and emphatically so, a pale shadow of the side that has been so impressive in the opening 2 matches. For West Brom, well, it just goes on. After a bleak first half, when West Brom, well, missed the best 2 chances, one of the guys that missed one of those chances atoned for it after the break. Shane Long, who crashed a header against the bar before the break, slid Odom Winger's fine low cross past the keeper after it. And then icing the cake, Gareth McCauley, just 10 minutes to go, 2-0, nodding home Brunt's corner. They hadn't won before today 2 opening home league games for 28 years, West Brom. They put that right, and when they did it before, they also beat Everton. Now then.
Indeed. Let's go to Celtic Park. Roddy Forsyth with the full details there.
Yeah, Celtic 2, Hibernian 2. Quite an unforeseen result, especially after Celtic controlled the first half so completely that we expected a barrel load in the second half. Mikkel Lustig put them ahead after 10 minutes. It was from a corner kick delivered straight to the Norwegian defender on the 6-yard line. He trimmed a low shot away. It was a negligent goal for Hibs to concede. Then Gary Hooper hitting the underside of the bar and the post before half-time. We expected more of the same, only to be shocked when we did get 3 more goals, but Hibs scored them all. The first one from Tim Clancy, that was after Griffiths had hit the post, indicating a new mentality after they'd emerged from the dressing room. Clancy pinched the ball between Lustig and Forster to make it 1 each. Then Celtic replied, a Lustig claiming the goal, although he wasn't the malice man to put it over the line. When Williams spilled the ball from a Twarzik free kick, it was a McPake goal. And then we thought at that stage perhaps the verities had been restored, but there was still time 5 minutes later for Paul Kearney to erupt from the left. He simply launched himself at the Celtic defence, got behind the back line, trimmed a low shot beyond Forster, and that is why at the end of the day the only goals in a Scottish Premier League that consists wholly of draws today were scored at Celtic Park. Celtic 2, Hibernian 2.
And Sheffield United have now got 5 goals. It's 5-3, the final scoreline there against Bournemouth, of course. So a busy afternoon, an entertaining one, no doubt, if you're a Sheffield United fan. Let's go to the Liberty Stadium, though. 2 apiece.
Fabregas will be tweeting about this game, you know. Swansea 2, Sunderland 2.
You might be right, Mark Webber. Let's get some championship action for you now. Highlights of Nottingham Forest against Charlton at the City Ground.
And now Reid. Guardiola! So unlucky. McGugan all the way through. And it wouldn't be Lewis McGugan if the goal wasn't special. And in the sort of form he is in, he may have been going for goal there. Hamer won't be happy with his role in it. Fired in with pace and power. Guardiola. Halford waiting. He got the power, but not the direction in the end. Hutchinson! And a dash of Premier League quality has surely won the game for Forest. Blackstock was strong. And just look at that run forward into the penalty area, not tracked. And what a tidy finish that was. Kermagol. Solly on the overlap. Oh, and Fuller, that crosses the line. And Charlton are back in the game. And there is the impact from Ricardo Fuller. Fuller not picked up, and that's an own goal in the end.
And don't forget, you can see all the goals from the Championship, League 1 and League 2 on the Football League show tonight and on the iPlayer all week. Now, let's get the full classified results with Mike West.
And opening with the Barclays Premier League. The match between Manchester City and Queen's Park Rangers is an evening kick-off at 5:30. Swansea City 2, Sunderland 2. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Norwich City 1. West Bromwich Albion 2, Everton 0. West Ham United 3, Fulham 0. And Wigan Athletic 2, Stoke City 2. On to the Empire Championship. Barnsley 1, Bristol City 0. Birmingham City 1, Peterborough United 0. Burnley 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 3. Crystal Palace 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Derby County 5, Watford 1. Hull City 3, Bolton Wanderers 1. Ipswich Town 2, Huddersfield Town 2. Leeds United 3, Blackburn Rovers 3. The game between Leicester City and Blackpool is an evening kick-off at 5:20. Millwall 3, Middlesbrough 1. And Nottingham Forest 2, Charlton Athletic 1. In the Empire League 1, Bury 0, Notts County 2. Crawley Town 1, Leyton Orient 0. Crewe Alexandra 1, Coventry City 0. Hartlepool United 2, Scunthorpe United 0. Milton Keynes Dons 2, Carlisle United 0. Portsmouth 0, Oldham Athletic 1. Sheffield United 5, AFC Bournemouth 3. Stevenage 1, Shrewsbury Town 1. Tranmere Rovers 4, Colchester United 0. Walsall 2, Brentford 2. And Yeovil Town 2, Doncaster Rovers 1. In the Empire League 2, AFC Wimbledon 2, Dagenham and Redbridge 2. Bristol Rovers 0, Morecambe 3. Cheltenham Town 0, Accrington Stanley 3. Exeter City 3, Burton Albion 0. Fleetwood Town 4, Aldershot Town 1. Gillingham 1, Chesterfield 1. Plymouth Argyle 3, Northampton Town 2. Port Vale 1, Torquay United 1. Rochdale 2, Barnet 0. Rotherham United 4, Bradford City 0. Southend United 1, Wycombe Wanderers 0. And York City 3, Oxford United 1. On to the Blue Square Bet Premier. Barrow 1, Kidderminster 1. Braintree Town 2, Tamworth 1. Dartford 5, Alfreton Town 1. Forest Green Rovers 3, Hyde United 1. Hereford United 0, Grimsby Town 2. Lincoln City 1, Ebbsfleet United 1. Luton Town 4, Macclesfield Town 1. Mansfield Town 3, Woking 1. Nuneaton Town 0, Gateshead 1. Southport 0, AFC Telford United 3. Stockport County 1, Cambridge United 1. And Wrexham 2, Newport County 0. Into Scotland and the Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League. Aberdeen 0, St Mirren 0. Celtic 2, Hibernian 2. Ross County 0, Kilmarnock 0. And St Johnstone 0, Dundee United 0. The Irn-Bru Scottish Division 1, Airdrie United 0, Cowdenbeath 3. Dunfermline 3, Wraith Rovers 1. Greenock Morton 3, Dumbarton 0. And Partick Thistle 4, Hamilton Academicals 0. The Scottish Division 2, Brechin City 1, Alloa Athletic 3. East Fife 1, Albion Rovers 2. Queen of the South 6, Arbroath 0. Stenhousemuir 0, Forfar Athletic 4. And Stranraer 2, Ayr United 0. The Scottish Division 3, Berwick Rangers 3, East Stirlingshire 0. Clyde 2, Annan Athletic 1 is a latest score. Peterhead 2, Montrose 0. And Stirling Albion 1, Queen's Park 2. The Corbett Sports Welsh Premier, Bangor City 6, Aberystwyth Town 1 is a latest score. And Gap Connors Quay 3, Llanelli 1. Finally, the Danske Bank Irish Premiership, Coleraine 1, Cliftonville 5, Crusaders 2, Ballina-Mallard 1, and finally Glentoran 1, Linfield 1.
And there's a late kick-off, a couple to tell you about in the Scottish Second Division. Stenhousemuir 0, Forfar Athletic 4, and in the Third Division it's Clyde 2, Annan Athletic 1. Let's do some tables for you. And the Premier League first. Leaders Chelsea, the only side with a 100% winning record, but they're not in action this weekend. Swansea stay second thanks to their fight back against Sunderland, while West Brom's win takes them above Everton into third. West Ham's victory leaves them level with the Toffees. At the bottom, Aston Villa and Southampton will hope to register their first points tomorrow afternoon. Tottenham and Norwich remain winless after their draw at White Hart Lane. To the Championship then, and Blackpool, who are in early evening action at Leicester, are the only side left in the Football League with a 100% winning record. Blackburn and Nottingham Forest are a point behind them. At the bottom, Peterborough lost at fellow strugglers Birmingham City. They're now the only club in the Championship without a point. Crystal Palace picked up their first win of the season, but stay in the bottom three along with Burnley. To League One, Tranmere and Yeovil have swapped places at the top despite both recording victories this afternoon. That's because Rovers enjoyed a 4-0 stroll today to move above the Glovers on goal difference. Notts County, Crawley and Sheffield United also won. At the bottom, Scunthorpe and Leyton Orient remain pointless this season after both were beaten again today. All the sides from Coventry down are still looking for their first league wins. Gillingham drew in League Two and with it dropped their first points this term, but that point is enough to lift them above previous leaders Oxford. Exeter and Accrington were the only sides of this morning's top 7 to win. At the bottom, Barnet continue to prop up the Football League after a third defeat of the season. Bristol Rovers, also beaten, have just 1 point so far. To the Blue Square, Newport were handed a first league defeat of the season by Welsh neighbours Wrexham, but stay top. Unbeaten Forest Green continue their early season promise. They're the nearest challengers. At the bottom, Kidderminster drew with fellow strugglers Barrow to leave both clubs winless this season. Hyde and Alfreton both lost and complete the relegation places. To the SPL, 4 draws in the SPL today, so it's largely as you were. Celtic lead the way from Hibs on goal difference. Dundee United and newly promoted Ross County are a further point back. And at the bottom, Dundee weren't in action, but they're now the only club with a solitary point. That's after St Johnstone drew to double their tally for the season. OK, let's get the headlines then from the Premier League today. Tottenham 1 helps the Hammers make it. West Brom 2, Everton 0. The Baggies inflicting more Merseyside misery at the Hawthorns. A fortnight ago, it was Liverpool. Today, Shane Long and Gareth Macaulay scoring against Everton to send West Brom third in the table. Wigan 2, Stoke 2. Peter Crouch is the Potters' head boy after he nods in their equaliser at the DW. The Latics led twice through Sean Maloney and Franco Di Santo, but couldn't hang on. OK, let's go to White Hart Lane and check in with John Motson. You can see there he's just having a little refreshment, and well he might. He's had quite an afternoon there, Motty. What a piece in the end, but a few talking points. I mean, Dembele with a fantastic strike. But the boys here just, you know, perplexed as to the substitution, bringing Huddleston on when AVB did, which looked, from their point of view, at least negative.
Well, maybe. I mean, let's say straight away that Spurs have thrown away a lead for the second week running here, which hasn't gone down well with the home fans. Dembele, as you say, came on as a half-time substitute and put them ahead. And then 5 minutes from the end, they let the game slip just as they did last week against West Brom. I have to say, by the way, Norwich, managed by Chris Hughton, his first visit back to White Hart Lane as a manager, he was here 28 years, they did him a lot of credit. They played really well. Snodgrass equalised, and I think that was a fair situation. And then we had this sending off, and you're right, he'd brought Huddleston on as a late substitute, and then he was guilty, having not really got into the game, of what I will politely call a mistimed challenge on Johnny Howson, and he got a straight red from Mark Halsey. But and the other thing you must watch tonight, Gabby, is one of the most blatant bits of shirt pulling I've ever seen in my life, when Asu Akoto almost pulled the shirt off Grant Holt's back, Morrison's back, Morrison who'd come on as a sub, and Norwich didn't get the penalty. So an even better reason why I say they deserved a draw.
The boys saw that challenge slightly differently, the House and Huddleston. They just felt that well, for them it wasn't a red card, it was an unfortunate clash that could have gone either way.
really well. As I said, I've called it mistimed. I mean, Howson certainly took the full weight of Huddleston's boot after the ball had gone. That's all I would say. But then again, you know, as I said, there's so many dramatic things happened in the last 20 minutes of this game. It didn't start that way. And the other thing, by the way, is what is AVB going to do with all the equipment that the chairman has bought him? Because he started the game today with Sigurdsson playing behind Defoe. So that meant Dembele and Adebayor both had to come on from the bench, and we haven't seen Dempsey yet. So he's got a few decisions to make here, I think. The other thing I must just say, 41-year-old Brad Friedel certainly made a statement, bearing in mind Spurs bought an expensive goalkeeper yesterday from France. He made 2 fantastic saves today. Otherwise, believe me, Norwich could have won this game.
And I tell you what, Motty, what a time to have Harry Redknapp on Match of the Day tonight, wouldn't you say?
Well, honestly, I didn't know he was, but...
All right, I'll leave you looking forward to that one then. I know where you're going to be at 10:10 tonight, in front of a television.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Motty.
He spots, however, he says about the shirt pulling. Brad Friedel was the best player on the pitch, and that says something. Spurs are at home. I agree with
Could have been 2-0 down at half-time.
Yeah, he should have left a 4-1. 2 penalties, because another talking point was, I think it was the song on Defoe. I thought that was on the line there for being a penalty, and for me, still, it's not a red card.
Loads and loads of incidents, but yeah, quite right. Norwich could have won that.
Yeah. OK. Shall we go to the Liberty Stadium? Plenty to talk about there as well. Martin Fisher is there for us. Martin, you had quite an afternoon, didn't you? Oh, he's not there just yet. We will go to talk to Martin.
There he is, the fish.
There he is, Martin. Quite an afternoon there. Sending off controversy, a debutant in the Premier League, Roger East. He's going to find life a little bit easier on other Saturdays, I'm sure, but that was a tricky 90 minutes to navigate, wasn't it?
It certainly was, Gabby, and the crowd here, as you well know yourself, are quick to let you know if you've got a decision wrong in their eyes, and he was getting a few whistles as the afternoon progressed. It was a very slow burner, this one, and not helped by that horrible-looking injury to Neil Taylor with just 15 minutes on the watch. And the word still is that we think that it's a suspected broken left ankle, so we'll sort of keep our eyes on that situation. The game really just sprung into life with 5 minutes to go until half-time, when Stephen Fletcher capitalised on a horrible back pass by Ashley Williams, pretty similar to James Collins' error a week ago here for West Ham when Swansea took the lead in that fashion. Fletcher took it very, very well, I have to say. Swansea were quickly level. Their best bit of football in the first half as Dyer flicked one through to Routledge, who smacked it home on the volley to make it 1-1. But in the last seconds of the 6 minutes added on at the end of that first half, Fletcher got a touch to a free kick that whistled across the 6-yard box. Chico was busy appealing for offside. It wasn't. He'd played him on, and Fletcher had put Sunderland 2-1 in front. Full marks, though, to Swansea's second half. They really found their passing style. They were brilliant. Michu headed just over before heading in. 2-2. You thought then Swansea had the momentum to go on and win it, and then Chico rather foolishly put his foot up on Sahar's shoulder, almost touched his ear, and the referee was quick to bring out the red card. Now, it was debatable whether it was a straight red. It was certainly reckless. He got away with one about 5 minutes earlier on James McLean that had Martin O'Neill dancing up and down as only he can on the touchline, and Chico was sent off, and then it was a case of Swansea just offering bits and bobs going forward rather than the waves of pressure that they put on and before their second equaliser of the day. So I think both managers at the end will be pleased with a point, but Chico really was reckless to toss away the advantage that Swansea got themselves in towards the end there.
Martin, thank you very much. You don't think it was debatable, that red?
Well, I thought the referee there, you got criticised a lot, but the first challenge Chico made on McLean, I thought he got that one spot on. I thought he won the ball, and people were calling for a red. It wasn't. The second one, Sahar's knocked it past Chico down the line, and he's just missed time, and he could have took his foot away, but he's followed it through, and he's caught him on the ear. Definite red card for me. Straight red.
Loads and loads of talking incidents, and that game boiled over in the first half and then continued all the second half. And there'll be loads and loads of incidents you could pull out there of poor play, poor challenges.
Do you know Martin O'Neill well? I mean, the way Swansea have been playing, obviously, they've kind of had a free run at their first 2 games. Do you think there was a deliberate kind of tactic from him to go in there and just be strong and assert
I don't think
yourself?
they were strong.
They were physical. There was physical challenges
much
from
more physical
both
than the
sides.
encounters they've
Martin
had.
O'Neill can turn around and say, hold on a minute, if we were physical, how come Chico went through one of my players and then got sent off for a challenge on another? Saha. I mean, there was a lot going on. The broken ankle from Taylor was really unfortunate.
Yeah.
It was a twist as he was going down. That was
blame to Gardner
no blame to Gardner whatsoever.
You just wish Taylor, broken
Speedy
ankle for
recovery.
his. That's a huge. He's of great potential. Wales have got a game against Belgium.
But to take the game to them a little bit more.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Gabs. Yeah, because Mike would have said before the game, listen, it's a difficult place to go. Make sure we don't get beat. They've got Fletcher up front, who's got 2 goals. Adam Johnson, who was in and out today, really. But I thought, they lost Catamol as well through an injury.
Yeah.
So
probably the incidents will overshadow probably how well they played away from home.
What a great
Fletcher's
start
2
for
goals.
Fletcher,
Yeah.
Fair results.
OK. Let's get some reaction from the Hawthorns. Steve Clarke's enjoying life as a Premier League manager, isn't he? That's 2 wins and a draw so far. He's talking to Guy Mowbray.
Well, Steve, it goes on. Unbeaten. You couldn't have wished for a better start as manager.
No, we could probably hope for 2 more points at White Hart Lane, but no, it's been a pleasing start. I'm beginning to sound like a broken down gramophone, I just keep saying the same things. The players have been fantastic, they keep working ever so hard, and I think today we deserved the 3 points.
Where does that performance rank in all the games so far?
I think because it came on the back of 2 good results, there was a little sense of expectation around the place. I asked the question of the players against a very, very good Everton team. And I think we rose to the challenge. We maybe started a little bit slowly first half, although we had the 2 best chances of the half. I just felt second half we were a little bit more adventurous, if you like, and we got the reward for that.
Did you ask them at all at half-time to maybe just step up the pace a little bit, because it seemed to be notably quicker?
It was a little bit quicker, but Everton are a difficult team to play against. You don't want to open up too early against them. You know that they've got players who can cause you problems. So we showed a little bit of respect to Everton in the first half. Maybe a little bit too much, but second half we got about them a little bit more. Like you say, a little bit more pace to the game, and it suited us better.
On little moments, big games can change. You had Fellaini blazing at one end, and then you get the goal a minute later. That set the tone.
Yeah, that's what happens. It was a game that was evenly balanced. It was finely balanced. There wasn't much between 2 good teams, and like you say, they miss a chance at one end, we go down the pitch at the other end, and fantastic cross from Peter, and delighted to see Shane getting another goal.
And you can see that. And all the goals from today, of course, on Match of the Day. It's on at 10:10. You may have gathered by now that Harry Redknapp is on it. And he's with Alan Shearer and, of course, Gary Lineker as well. It's going to be a good watch. The Football League show with Manish follows that at 11:30. All the goals from the Championship and League 1 and 2. And then tomorrow, Match of the Day 2 should be a cracker. Liverpool, Arsenal, Southampton against Manchester United and Newcastle United against Aston Villa for you there. Colin is joined by Dion Dublin and Alan Hansen. OK, 2 apiece it was at the DW between Wigan and Stoke today. Here's Roberto Martinez with John Roeder.
Roberto, that was quite some match to watch, end-to-end action, all sorts of things going on the pitch. What was it like down on the sidelines for a manager?
Well, exactly the same. I think you sum it up really well. I thought it was a real tough encounter for both sides, 2 contrasts of styles, but there is a moment that in football you have to really be able to match the opposition, and I thought Stoke, probably we started a little bit better than Stoke. The first 10-15 minutes we got a well-deserved goal. Probably the injury set us back a little bit, and Stoke changed things round, and they got a little bit of momentum. They get the goal at the right time, and you only felt that you needed a 2-goal cushion today to be able to get the 3 points, because you can see that Stoke, they had a real reaction to the disappointment on Tuesday, and they were very, very efficient with their partnership up front, and we all know that they can score goals from very little. They are very, very good at what they do, and I was just proud of my players in the manner that they defended, the manner that they showed real character when in a day that for one reason or another we couldn't be at our best. And for me it was a point that he could have gone, he could escape at the end, or he could increment, he could have gone to 3 points, but I thought it was a tremendous game.
4 points from 3 games now for Wigan. Much more comfortable start to last season.
Yes, and as we said before, they've kind of started off where they left off last season. Some great wins. I think was it 5 wins out of 6 out of the last 8 games they won. So momentum. And as I said before, I saw him against Forest midweek.
It's the only reason we're here now, isn't it?
He changed the team around, and everybody plays the same way. The players who come in, and he's got a good bench as well. So
shall we see how you both did today?
Let's do that.
Yeah. No, we're not going to do that. Hold your fire. Feel it. We're going to come back in a moment because we're going to hear from Chris Hughton now. Of course, Norwich got a point away from White Hart Lane today. John Southwell was asking the questions.
Hey, Chris Hughton for Match of the Day. Well, Chris, I'm sure it's always good coming back here, but just give us your thoughts about your side's performance. You must be delighted, aren't you?
Yes, I was, and it's similar to a performance of what we had last week. But last week we were at home. It was a game that we should have won last week, so probably that was the only disappointment. And a tinge of disappointment here as well, because you're up against a very good Spurs team, very, very good team, good individuals, and they were always going to have the majority of possession. It's normal, but I felt we had the best chances and got into the better areas. But I think once you go one behind, I think you're always delighted and pleased if you manage to get back in the game, and it's nothing short of what we deserved.
Yeah.
Honest assessment?
He's spot on. Let's be fair, on chances, Norwich should have won the game. Spurs had more possession, but the clear-cut chances, as Motti alluded to, Brad Frieda was the best player on the pitch.
That's what you say. If your goalkeeper's the best player on the pitch, obviously, he's kept them in the game. But you know what? Top man, great coach. Yeah. Everyone would say the same thing about him.
And after that start, to go 5-0 down the first day of the season and think, whoa, this is, just
manager's gone. Get steady. Steady the ship. It's not. Pleased for Snodgrass as well, because, he's a young talent and, he's been around for Leeds.
Good acquisition
doing a while.
For him, do you think? Good acquisition?
Yes. Same as Pilkington last year when he came in. He scored, came from the second tier, went to the Premier League, scored goals. And you have to do that, the clubs who can't afford the 15, 16 million pound players.
Well, we've seen young boys go from Leeds. We've seen Delph go to Villa, Asmir had done it. Howson and Snodgrass now going to Norwich, and they're doing exceptionally well, them two.
OK, shall we now see how your predictions stack up on what really happened this afternoon?
Beat me, I can feel it.
OK, let's have a look. I don't know yet. Well, I can't remember, of course, what you told me 2.5 hours ago. But let's have a look. Let's have a look. West Ham 3, Fulham 0. Well, Mark takes the lead slightly there with Loro because you got the result, if not the scoreline. You had a draw, Robbie. You got the exact scoreline.
2-2. What was it?
2-2. Yeah.
Well done, Robbie.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're one up. And Tottenham, none of you got that apart from Greg Rutherford. That is, by the way. Yeah, if you're wondering who those predictions belong to, Greg Rutherford, Olympic gold medal winner. West Brom, Everton 2-0. Yeah, you got that one wrong. Wigan Stoke 2 apiece. Not a great day, really, was it, for any of you? But
no. Robbie got an exact score though.
Yeah.
And 2-2 is not a bad one to get right.
Very.
It's not like you to big yourself up either.
No. Somebody's got it.
As it transpired, not a bad afternoon. It started off slightly slow, didn't it? And only 4 games at 3 o'clock.
Lots and lots of incidents, though, Gab, for the boys to talk about later. And, should it a penalty? Well, Harry's on Match of the Day, looking for all of us. He can sort everything out.
And Robbie's going to dash later on. We are, of course, still with you on the red button for more reaction, but he will be on 6:06 tonight, alongside Johnny Vaughan as well, on Radio 5 Live and the BBC Sport website. So if your name's Omar and you want to chat or you want to fight, it's 6:06 for you. I'll be listening in the car on my way home, as ever, Robbie. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks,
Thoroughly enjoyed your company this afternoon. Of course, the tea time kickoff is at the Etihad. It's Manchester City up against QPR with all those new players. I wonder who's going to be on show for them today. Will it be a repeat of that amazing drama on the last day of the season? That's it from us, though. We are going on to the red button if you want to join us there. If not, we'll see you next time.